In studio with me is head coach and general manager of the Lloydminster Bobcats, Nigel Dube. Thanks, coach, for making some time. You guys are wrapping up the season. No playoff contention this year, and just a couple of regular season games, starting with this road trip this weekend.
Yeah, we'll head out to Drayton Valley and Whitecourt here to finish things up on the road, and then back home next Wednesday for the final regular season game of the year.
So obviously not the ultimate finished product you wanted for the season. What's your biggest takeaway from the year so far?
Well, I think the biggest part of it, between pretty much a whole new team and a whole new staff in a year's time, is where our culture's got to in the year, and it's probably advanced 2 years from where I thought it would be. But just an outstanding group of gentlemen that came to work every day and did great things, not only on the ice but in the community as well. And it really gives us the foundation that we talked about in the change, and something to definitely build off of moving forward.
And speaking of moving forward, what are some of the guys that you're going to be relying on heavily? Any guys that surprised you this year particularly?
Well, I think our young guys, and there was a lot of them. When you look back at it, the Tegan Skihar, who's a 16-year-old D-man and got put into a big role as a 16-year-old. When we acquired Max Stewart in an early trade, has done great things there. And just the balance throughout with great goaltending and Josh Diaz and Garrett Larson too as well. Some staples to our organization that we can really build around now moving forward. And the character guys of the Coventrys and the McLeans too, go a long way.
For sure, and that's obviously something particularly huge when you got Josh Diaz. You were hoping for that kind of stability. Really kept you in a lot of games and a few times earlier in the year you weren't really in any business of winning or tying, and you pulled out a few with him.
Well, I think our overall growth too, from a team standpoint, from early on, has helped. And then you look back the last couple of weeks with Garrett, stealing the show there too as well. And it's been an excitement for fans, and it's interesting after games when you get messages, are those guys too old to come back next year and all that kind of stuff. And you can be like, well, no, those are the guys that are going to come back, and those are the guys that we're going to rely on. So a lot of one goal games this season. We talked too much about it in the 2-goal games, but just being able to come up on the other side of that moving forward.
And so what happens immediately once these last couple regular season games are done?
Well, I'll hit the road. I'll hit the road right away, and we'll continue our recruiting for next season. Our big thing is we need to find ways to score more goals, and there's parts there. And now that we do have the foundation, we're not only looking for next year, but we're looking for the years after that too, and really put a stamp on our organization moving forward of creating a pathway to get players to Lloydminster and then move players on to the next level as well.
For sure. Is there anything in particular from your returning players that you are looking for them to work on over the summer, whether it's a lot of strength and conditioning for some guys, or is it certain things about the game that they can work on, whether it's off ice or on?
Well, I think for our younger guys now that they have a year of junior underneath of them, especially for the first-year guys, that you really go through the paces when you're playing 3 games a week or whatever it may be, and to go back, get a little bit of rest, and then they'll up their summer programs probably from whatever they did before, and we'll stay on top of them of what they're doing. But I just like the fact that our youth and 16, 17, and 18-year-olds are going to come back as 17, 18, and 19-year-olds, and the maturity not only of the player but of the human too as well, and being that older person and coming in knowing the expectations from day one. 20 of 22 new players this year. It was a lot of getting to know each other, team building out of the gate, and then we finally started to tick at the Christmas point. And our expectation of our guys will be ready to go in August.
For sure. And you obviously had, as you said, many things in the community you were proud of. Is there any particular events that stand out?
Well, just overall, I think this, we had a presentation last night to our guys, and the first thing the presenter said is how big of impact our guys had on his 6-year-old son. From the first day when we ran the stop signs and the crosswalks in the schools to just the weekly visits, it's been special to see our guys and the relationships they built with the youth in the community, and how much they enjoy getting out and being involved in the community. And we'll continue to grow on that and do what we can. But there's been so many highlights throughout the season, even with our billets when we made the hampers before Christmas. And there's just a lot of highlights. I think anything when we can get involved in those, it's a special time, and a lot of those are memories our guys will make. We've joked about it with it being later in the year here, and it seems like yesterday when it was 4 months ago, some of the activities that we did. So those are lasting impressions, and our guys will have that a special place in their heart all the time for some of the events.
Thanks again for coming in, Coach, and best of luck as you head off recruiting once the regular season is over.